Hey everybody out there, Chris and Mike here, and welcome back to another Dark Avenger Comic Book review. And in this review we'll be talking about the books that came out of DC Comics the week of July 9, 2014. Guys, this is late. Unfortunately, we are still reeling from last month's books with the recaps and everything, so I am tirelessly trying to catch up on all that reading, plus these books. Plus, it's the summer schedule now, so everything's a bit hectic. I'm positive once the recaps are put out of the way, things will go back on track, and these reviews will be coming at you again on Monday. I'm positive that the recap should be done by this weekend as well. It's a podcast will happen this week. I have a few things that I want to discuss, plus we got the solicits for Marvel and DC, so lots to talk about there. That's it for the news. Let's get into the comic books. Smallville Lantern issue 4. We always start with the digital digital first books first. I knew I was going to say first twice. This is the final issue of the Lantern issue, the part 4 of Lantern, and John Stewart, possessed by Parallax, goes up against Superman in this book, as well as Green Arrow against Taskmaster. And the Green Lantern Corps shows up on Earth finally. You have Batman fighting Yellow Lantern-powered rogues from his gallery. In the end, Superman finally reaches out to John Stewart throughout this entire fight. And there was some major moments in this book. And for those of you that don't know, in the last issue, Clark broke the Green Lantern ring and is now just Superman again. He's no longer a Green Lantern. So after a while, he figures out a way to shut the rings down temporarily, frees John Stewart from Parallax's control. I forgot what the being. Ion shows up. There's a fight between Ion and Parallax. Superman throws them both off of Earth, and all the Green Lanterns get their powers back, and basically that's it. That is a really abbreviated version, but for those of you that have read this series, you're way ahead of me. You're already in the Chaos story arc, which is going on right now digitally, but for the physical copies, we're not going to be getting into the next episode until the end of July, the beginning of August. This is a really good story arc. I would highly recommend it. Lantern was a really good episode. I'm looking forward to the next episode. I'm looking forward to what's going to be going on. A lot of people are saying that Lex Luthor already reached out to the multiverse. That's also in Infinite Crisis, which is coming out, or Infinite Crisis Universe, whatever, the digital first books that's coming out next week, or this week actually, came out today. So that's going to be interesting to see if they do a crossover with that at some point, or maybe even if they do a crossover with them and the actual New 52. I refuse to call it the DCU, because at this point, hopefully. Anyway, next up we have Superman Wonder Woman issue number 10. Superman's in space, but Cyborg Superman and Brainiac are now attacking Earth. Steel and Lana reach out to Superman for help. Superman, now kind of more Doomsday-esque, so to speak, like more accepting of the Doomsday infection, actually does fight back a bit. Lois, of course, Brainiac's out finally. We've been seeing this image for a while now. Finally, it's happened, and yippee. We have a fight between Wonder Woman and Lois Lane throughout the entire issue. Awesome splash page. And I will say this. One thing I noticed this week, not only in DC, but also in Marvel, letterers out there, double check your work. Because in this book, the letterer mistake, and if I remember other ones throughout this review and my Marvel review, I will point them out. In this book, letterer mistake was you put Wonder Woman's word bubble and Lois's word bubbles in the wrong place. That was the first. There were many others. There was spelling errors in a few other books. I don't know what's going on, but this week I noticed a lot of spelling errors. Like, you know, when you read a book, you don't think about the spelling. I mean, if you know what the word is, you're going to read it, but if you really look at it, sometimes there are a whole half of words missing in certain books. I wish I could point all of them out, but first of all, I'm not going to nitpick the lettering. I'm just going to say this. Whoever checks over the letterer's job. Do it again, because a lot of books had mess-ups this week. Mostly from DC, a few from Marvel, but there were a lot of whoopsies. So Superman is now heading back to Earth after what Steel told him about the whole invasion with Brainiac and everything. And he comes face to face with Cyborg Superman for the first time. And basically, in order to save the world, Superman has to officially let Brainiac take control. Full control. And as he puts it, we'll be able to beat it, but by letting me take over, then they'll all die anyway. So, Superman's going to basically cut loose and submit to the Doomsday virus, but now, because he's done that, he's doomed everybody else. This is still a very interesting story. Not good, not awful, stupid at points, but interesting. Batman Detective Comics issue 33. At this point, I got halfway through this book, and I wanted to stop because the story just does not interest me at all anymore. The only reason I continued going was because of Francis Manapul's artwork. His art in this book was spectacular, and 75th anniversary cover, by the way. It's Batman and Bullock still chasing after Icarus, finding out they found out who killed Annie's mother in the previous issue. So now Batman aims to stop Icarus once and for all. Annie finds out who her real father is. There's no real, I don't really want to spoil it in this review, but he brings the guy that killed his mother. Apparently, he wants Annie to shoot him. Batman and Bullock together find out about a connection to Icarus and the old Kane laboratories, and let's just say things come to blow by the end of the issue. Throughout this entire issue, the story just didn't grip me. The only reason why I'll be picking up the next issue of Detective Comics and then immediately dropping Detective Comics is because it's the final issue of the Icarus story arc, and it's also the final issue of Brian Buccellato and Francis Manapul. Will they be going back to Flash? I don't think so. So, me and Detective Comics are done after the next issue because I have no reason to continue reading it at this point.
Justice League United issue number 3 is the only book that I got from DC Comics this week. So in this comic issue, it first starts off, you know, where, I forgot what her name was, we saw, like, in previous comic issues, Miyabin Martin, like, she has stuff that she goes through with all stuff, and you could definitely read the comic book, because it's sort of like what's been going on in previous issues. So now, there's just like so much carnage happening with, you know, Lobo fights off against Supergirl, and Supergirl owns him basically. Like, you know, like 1, 2, 3. And they talk about how the infant is going to be a danger to everyone in society. Here's some nice artwork, by the way. And there's just been where Lana and Adam Strange have been switching back and forth with some about the Zeta beam that's like going out of control, which only switches them to back and forth. And I like how that Supergirl's actually joining them, you know, to help them out in the fight and everything. And there's actually one page where showed like herself as a Red Lantern, which I thought was pretty cool. And this was a really touching moment where John Jones talks to the alien, the little infant that's out of control, and then there was like a touching moment right here where he's like saying, you know, we're here for you and everything, and no one's gonna hurt you, and that really was touching. But things are gonna explode, and well, let's just say someone's made a sacrifice.
He'll come back.
Oh yeah, he'll come back. But if you want to find out who it is, definitely read the book, because it is too great of a story to give away. But I'll tell you one thing though. That person's going to be remembered for making that sacrifice. Just surprised that it was that person that did that, but yeah.
Green Lantern Corps issue 33 gave us the most shocking blow in this entire Durland story arc, and it's the final part of the Durland story arc. And if you guys don't want to hear this spoiler, but at this point I think all you guys should know. You should fast forward until I put this book down. But spoiler alert here. It turns out there was one Durland left, and that Durland was Fatality. Apparently, somewhere along the lines, the Durlands had abducted Fatality and switched her with a doppelganger. I believe this happened at the very beginning of this entire story arc, where she was shadowing the Durland ship, probably where the switch happened, away from where all of us saw. And John Stewart finds out that Fatality's still alive. However, the Durland stops the Ring from finding her. So basically, she says, Fatality's buried deep, Lantern Stewart. Not that you'll ever find her. So, the rest of the book is John Stewart versus the Durland Fatality. Then the Green Lantern Corps comes in. It's a bunch of fighting. Also, what was his name? Well, I probably said that at the beginning of the book, and I want to go crazy. Oh, Von Dagel ends up killing the prisoners, the Durland prisoners, and then he sets his sights on the Fatality Durland. They don't have names, so I'm just going with Durlands. So long story short, in the end, the Durland gets taken down. Not killed, however. The Durland gets put into jail, but now John Stewart makes the swear that he's going to find out where the real Fatality is, and he's going to save her. Then we get a final page, which is elsewhere, and obviously this is leading into the next story arc. And it involves a group called the Shadow Empire, because now the Lanterns are weakened due to what happened with the Durland. So now we have the Shadow Empire that's going to go after them. And it says for this, the next issue, the real Fatality. So will John Stewart find Fatality in the next issue? Will this be an ongoing search for a while? I don't know. We'll have to wait and find out. But that's some crazy stuff that happened to John Stewart in this issue, and it was shocking. I will give the book that. It was a very shocking twist that I didn't even see coming, and that's really good. Batgirl 33. Okay, I understand that Batgirl's very high-strung right now because her dad's in jail, and she's going down the little dark path for a little bit. But at the very beginning of this issue, at the end of the last issue, Huntress showed up to help. At the very beginning of this issue, Barbara thinks that she works for Nightfall, and she beats the crap out of her, or attempts to beat the crap out of her, throughout the whole first couple of pages. And the thing is, Huntress isn't even fighting back. It took Black Canary to back Batgirl off and to get her to come to reason. And even then, her attitude towards Huntress all the way in through until the end of the conversation was very sarcastic and very untrusting. And very, very different character Barbara Gordon is right now. So Barbara goes to Alyssa. I think I'm saying her name right. And asks her about who gave her that stink bomb from previous issues. And at first she thinks Alyssa figured out that she's Batgirl. It turns out Alyssa figures out that she thinks that Barbara works as an undercover cop. but she tells her who assigned it, and it's a guy called Michael. And Michael's with Nightfall at this time.
I'm not.
If that's you, you have a couple of shades to change to.
Oh my.
Anyway, long story short, he gets confronted by Huntress, Batgirl, and Black Canary. Fight ensues. Batgirl can't stop him, but Huntress did. They question him. They want to know where Nightfall is so they can stop her and what her plans are exactly. She attacks, or she sends her agents after Batgirl and the others. But Batgirl and the others one-up the agents, and then Michael finally tells them what's going on. But Batgirl realizes she's going to need help, so she reaches out to, what's her name? Muni, the woman from the previous issue, and says, if you help me deal with Nightfall, I'll join your group. And obviously she says yes, and then she asks a friend for a boat. And that's where it leaves off. A little bit upset this week about the Batgirl news that Gail Simone will be leaving Batgirl in October, and it will be going in a completely new direction. I will tell you guys right now, definitely off the bat, I will not be reading Batgirl once Gail Simone leaves the book. The new direction looks interesting, but at the same time, it doesn't spark that, ooh, I can't wait till we get to that point in the Batgirl story arc. I'm probably going to end up dropping the book right after Gail Simone's run is done, which is probably the end of this story arc, because we have, what, 2 more months? Not even. Next month, and then we have a month skip because we got the month of September, which is going to be 5 years later. So, next month's Batgirl issue, not counting anything that comes out in September, because I get everything in September regardless, even if I'm not reading it. I think October will be my last Batgirl issue, like issue. The only #1 that I got this week from DC, and that's Grayson, issue #1. This is the Batman 75th anniversary. I noticed this one sold out, which is interesting, but then again, considering what the other cover, the regular cover, looked like, this one's better. I gotta say, I liked the story. I liked it. Dick is undercover on a train. He takes this metahuman, this guy, this Russian, I forgot what he was exactly, but he ends up taking him because another group of people want to use him as a weapon, but he takes him instead for Spiral, and he uses this type of a hypnotic control thing. I like the art in this book too, I will say that, but he takes him, and things kind of go a little weary towards the end of the issue, and he ends up fighting this guy called, I don't even know who he is. I think he called himself Night Pete. I think it did. I don't even know. He doesn't even have a name, but it's this guy. And he wants, his name is Ninel. He wants him too, but in the end the fight kind of breaks him. He breaks off because he figures out that Dick's with Spiral. However, Nile kind of fights back against the guy that's fighting Dick because he still kind of believes that Dick's his friend through the hypnotic, whatever that stupid thing is called, implants that Dick has. And Dick kind of just breaks out and tells him the truth at some point, and the guy just blows himself out, wears himself out. He brings the guy back. They extract the organ or whatever it is. That part got weird. And then you can see that Huntress, this world's Huntress, the one that we all don't like, has a thing for Dick, or is able to manipulate Dick in a way. And then we find out that Spiral actually already figured out a few of the Justice League members' identities. And it's kind of screwed up that they figured out, you see Batman as the first picture, and they figured out that he's Bruce Wayne. But still, Dick is on the inside, you know, working for Batman. Again, though, it was a good story, but not for Dick. I'm thinking Nightwing. This isn't Nightwing. This isn't Dick Grayson. This isn't... It doesn't fit for Dick.
In other words, it's a totally different universe.
No, it just didn't fit for the character. It worked for Bucky. It worked for several other characters. For Dick, though, it does not work. He needs to be Nightwing. He needs to be out in the open. This whole pretending to be dead, working for Spiral, so that he can get intel and give it back to Batman. I see this story arc honestly lasting for maybe a year, maybe a tiny bit longer than a year, and then Dick going back to, if not being Nightwing again, being something else. Although I don't see Dick ever becoming Nightwing again, because if Nightwing comes back, everybody's going to know Dick Grayson's Nightwing, and that's going to be a problem. Unless somehow they show Nightwing and Dick in different places.
I don't know. We gotta find out.
Oh, there are many ways around there's many loopholes around this. Futures End issue 10 was a very straightforward issue this week. Terry reaches out to the people who want to break into Mr. Terrific's Terrific Tech, so to speak, and he gives them a proposition, and he actually gives them schematics. It says, I want to help, I want in. And they reluctantly accept. In the beginning of the issue, by the way, we have Superman still trying to find Boyer from the last issue. Really good artwork for Superman, but I can definitely tell this isn't Clark. So whoever this new Superman is, it's going to be interesting to see when they reveal it, which they are revealing it in October, I believe. So it's going to be interesting to see that. So anyway, back to where Terry is. One of the people who don't trust Terry too much kind of reaches out and tries to steal the information and just leave with it. Terry uses a technique called the Tonga Death Strike, and Tim notices that. And remember, Tim is Cal, really. And he says, I know the man that came up with that move. And then he thinks that Terry's obviously working with Bruce, and he actually says, has he mentioned me? And Terry's like, I wouldn't know. So it kind of leaves Tim speechless, so to speak. Also, Hawkman's arm is growing back, and this is why in your book I say that Hawkman's going to heal himself fine. He already has his arm semi-growing back. He wants to get revenge for his fallen comrades. And then we find out that somebody from Stormwatch is still alive because the alert goes off. The emergency communicator goes off. Who is the only other person that's part of Stormwatch? Grifter, who gets beaten up by some invisible OMAC badly. And then we have this interesting girl called what's her name? So I want to make sure I point it out. Emiko, who reaches out to Barda.
The one like from the Green Arrow, Emiko?
Good job.
Oh wow.
She needs Barda's help. For what? I guess we'll have to wait and find out next time because that's the end of the issue.
I didn't know she would play a role.
I didn't expect to see Emiko either. When I saw her name, I was like, whoa.
Wow.
So, this is an interesting weekly book this week. However, the book out of the two that was the best this week was Batman Eternal issue number 14. Penguin finds out where Carmine Falcone is. And Jim Gordon is getting close to the point where it's time where his son said that night that his door was going to open, the exit's going to be there. You know, he could leave, he could run away, he could get out scot-free, he could escape. And at the beginning of the issue, though, you see Bard kind of barge into the mayor's office and say, you know, I know you're connected to all this. And I'm going to figure out a way, I'm going to figure out how to, you better watch your step because I'm going to figure out what you're doing and I'm going to bring you to justice, so to speak. And, because he knows that Forbes was working with Carmine Falcone. Something happens to Forbes by this issue. So, Carmine Falcone comes face to face with a deranged Penguin. However, Bard shows up just in time before the Penguin actually kills Carmine Falcone. And not only is Carmine Falcone taken to Blackgate, so is Penguin, he's on his way, and so is Commissioner, or I should say ex-Commissioner Forbes. Now, Batman goes to Jim for a bit and tells him what's going to be coming his way. And Jim's like saying, I'm getting too old for this. Maybe Bard is better. You know, he's just like me. You have your new partner. He's really cleaning up the streets of Gotham. Maybe I didn't do it on purpose, but maybe I'm getting too old and I'm fighting age. And I'm fighting, you know, too hard. I'm getting too old for it. And Batman's like, you're not. I promise you, you're not. Then we go to Tim for a bit, who actually finds out all this news, and then he finds out that Harper's on his on his flight, on his in the jet with him. So it's funny how Harper and him just keep kind of clashing. So then we have the confrontation, the confrontation with Batman and Lieutenant Bard. Now, just when you think everything's right, there's the major twist at the end of this issue. Batman found out who gave Penguin the tip, and Penguin had killed a few of Carmine Falcone's men, 7 men. Batman found out that Lieutenant Bard was the one that gave Penguin the tip on where to find Carmine Falcone, and 7 men died because of him. And he said Jim Gordon never would have sacrificed other men's lives just to put the bigger person in jail. And this is where Bard makes that 180 and says, the city is changing, Batman, and I'm doing this to make it a better, safer city. I want to make that happen with you, but you're not going to trust me. That's not going to stop me from doing what I know is right, even if it crosses a line that you or Gordon never would have crossed. I was like, wow. So basically Bard, even though he was the good guy, ended up crossing a line. So now Bard's no good either. And then stuff's going on at Arkham Asylum, which, believe me guys, you can ignore that completely, because 2-1 is going to become inconsequential at some point. But everybody's behind bars, but now Lieutenant Bard kind of is a little twisted himself. So just when you think everything's is finally going right, but then again, it is the 14th issue only out of 52. Just when things look like they're going right finally, they start to twist up again, and things are just gonna... I can't wait for the next issue. This was really good this week. I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend Batman Eternal. There were a couple of hiccups, but this was a good issue, and I can't wait to see how things develop further as we get further in Batman Eternal. And with that, that's it for this review, guys. Don't forget to check out Comic Related, Comic Frontline, and Zone4Podcast.com. Together we are your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. Guys, feel free to leave comments below, likes, dislikes, agree, disagree, your recommendations, any books you'd like to recommend us to read. Let us know, and your comments will be heard this Friday on the weekly comic book haul, which hopefully will be this Friday and not Saturday. But things are so backed up, hopefully I'll catch up by Friday, so we'll be able to do that. But anyway, till next time, everybody, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and we'll see you guys in the next review.
Bye, everybody.